Mornings are like nature in spring, humming with the sounds of life and the promise of a fresh new day. Leora Anderson. Welcome to Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I'm a triple board certified family, obesity, and lifestyle medicine physician, and I am the founder of Living at Your Finest Wellness, a holistic direct primary care practice. Did you know that 80% of lifestyle-related chronic diseases within our communities are preventable, with poor diet being the primary culprit? Now, contrary to what we thought, that it was our unfortunate genes, the good news is that we can make changes together to improve our health and quality of life. So that's what this podcast is all about. The Living at Your Finest podcast is devoted to helping families to live at their finest well-being using a holistic approach with a healthy lifestyle to nourish and flourish as a whole, vibrant, and healthy champion. So join me and my guests as we share transformational and sustainable skill sets from our health and wellness journey to support you and your families in achieving optimal well-being. Ready to live at your finest? Well, let's get to it. Welcome to another episode of Living at Your Finest podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Babs. I am so thrilled that you're here with me today. I am thrilled because I have a very interesting topic, one that I never thought that I would be presenting, but life has changed and I want to share that with you. But first, let me check in, see how you're doing. How are things? We're almost at the latter part. We are actually at the latter part of the year, July, if you're listening at this time of the recording. It's so quick. The year has gone by fast. I actually celebrated 1 year at the Living at Your Finest Wellness membership direct primary care practice. And I'm so thrilled and honored and blessed to be able to have a practice that is still standing, supported by my wonderful patients and members of the practice. And to you listeners that, come in and support and listen from different parts of the world. I am grateful that you're part of my community. How are things going on your end? I hope all is well. If you're summer with the kids or, planning on getting back to school. So a lot is going on, but I really hope that all is well with you. Well, I'm thrilled to be here to share about morning routines to ensure optimal health and well-being. I must say that I was never really a morning person, all right, from when I was in college, even up to my married life with kids. It was just always pushing through. Mornings, I just wouldn't smile till much, much later in the day. But I have since learned that there are tricks and tips and tools to ensure that I'm a morning person. Now, everybody is different, yes. So you might not necessarily have to be a morning person, but how can you brighten your morning? So that's what I'm going to be talking about. Mornings can be difficult for many people. Some people, the alarm clock goes off, they hit the snooze button so many times before they actually get out of bed. Or maybe they're thinking, can we just replay the whole night again? But I promise you that there are some game-changing literal rituals that can actually make you a joyful person. Things that I've applied in my own life that I would like to share with you. And what does that leave you with? It leaves you with increased energy. You lose all that hormonal imbalance that occurs from stress, and then you jumpstart your metabolism. All these strategies I'm going to be sharing are simple, they're thoughtful, and they're life-giving practices that can be done anywhere. So there's no excuse, whether you're in town, out of town, these are tools that you can use. All right. So what are we going to be doing? We're going to be shifting that tone of being stressed in the morning to feeling calm, cool, and collected. I'm sure you want that for yourself. So one thing I do want to say though is that some of the things I'm going to be talking about are really simple. Maybe you've heard it before, but maybe you can apply it in a way as simple as it might sound. Just indulge yourself, just be flexible, and over time you will reap the benefit. I know that I have, and it's changed my morning approach. All right. Now, suddenly, after you've heard everything I'm going to share, if you want to hold yourself accountable, like we did at the practice, we actually did a 5-day, just before the practice turned a year, we did a 5-day energy challenge. And what we did was hold each other accountable. So accountability partner might be helpful. You might want to consider that. You might want to share this with other people and see how you can do it together to become a practice, okay? Because again, this is a pathway to a better mind, body, and spirit, all right? So the whole idea is I want to inspire you and hope that you feel inspired to become more intentional about your day. So how do we begin? Let me share the 7 main things for the routine. Some of them you can do them individually or collectively. The whole idea is just getting it done. If you've heard about habit stacking, this is exactly what it looks like. So let's get to it. All right. So before we start, I want to say that out of the 7 things I'm going to talk about, because we cannot handle too much at the same time. We don't want to do overwhelm. Just pick 1 or 2 things that you're going to explore. And once you perfected it for a week, then you can pick up something else. So these are 7 simple, powerful morning routines. Okay. The first one is certainly, and this is the order which I do it. You don't have to follow the same order, but you do what works best for you. But I'm going to just name them all out and I'm going to dive into each of them. So the first one is certainly getting up with a spirit of gratitude. So gratitude. Another thing is just breath work and meditation. Okay. And then followed by drinking water, and then after that, going out for sunlight, okay? And then after you go out for sunlight, then you can do some form of joyful movement, okay? Then you can also incorporate intermittent fasting. And through the course of the day, you add what we call adaptogenics. So whether in form, if you're a coffee drinker, I'm not, but I drink tea. So green tea, red tea. So those are the 7 things that I'm going to be talking about. And I really want to dive into each of them so you understand why they're very beneficial. So the first one I want to start off with that I do and the order that I do, once I get up from bed, I wake up in a spirit of gratitude. I am just grateful. And this is also something I do at night. It really helps to get me. If my latency is increasing outside of 15 minutes, even before I get to that point, I am actually just grateful that I get to lie down and sleep, that I have a bed, that I'm not stuck outside. And I promise you, it just gets me, shifts my whole mindset. I'm not anxious, I'm not nervous. And then I find myself, I'm sleeping. So here is one that the same approach that I follow when I wake up is that daily gratitude state. So let me share this with you. So we should have an attitude of gratitude and always ask ourselves, how can I pay forward? What am I grateful for? Very important. So when we intentionally practice gratitude, even as simple and basic as it is, it actually takes us from the fight or flight mode. It shifts the energy in our brain and mind, and it makes us calm and just rest and digest. So it's so important. We actually pay attention to the cup being half full and half empty. Things that you could do, that I do, is if you don't want to say it out, you can write it down, because when you visualize it, you speak it out and you visualize it, it actually keeps it rooted. So you can write 3 things that you're grateful for. You can say it out. I use a pretty journal, so it inspires me to use it. I'm not stressed about how long I'm spending. It's just, even if it's just 1 thing or 2 things I write, I just do it. And then it lowers my cortisol level. When you lower your cortisol level, you enable your body to heal and repair. More than that, practicing gratitude increases your serotonin level. Did you know that? Yeah, the feel-good hormone. So not only does it increase your serotonin, it also increases your dopamine, so motivation and pleasure. And that part of your brain within the hypothalamus regulates food intake, metabolism, and stress levels. So if you have not gathered what I'm trying to say, it's gratitude really shifts the way our brain works. So we need to practice it if we want to increase our metabolism. Okay, so that is about gratitude. Now, the next thing that I typically do after I've done my gratitude is suddenly breath work. I love breath work. You know, I am breathing. And the question is, oh, well, but don't we all breathe? Yeah, we do, but we just have this shallow breathing. We're not breathing in depth. And it's so important for us to breathe in depth. So that's something that I do. I definitely take deep breaths. And as I take those deep breaths, I either do the box breathing, which you might have heard is a 4x4, inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale, and then hold again. So when I do that, I take take those deep breaths, and it really helps me calm down my nerves. It helps calm down my heart, so I really enjoy my breath. And then I can meditate. If I want to meditate, just be still, I do that. Now, this is so important. Breathing in, I calm my body. Breathing out, I smile, dwelling in the present moment. And that was also a very beautiful quote that I have seen somewhere. So intentional breath work and meditation is so powerful because it generates a positive, joyful, peaceful, and focused tone to your whole day. Yes, when you just sit still and you're not in the chaos of day to day, you actually breathing from your diaphragm, you're relaxing your muscle, and you can stretch. I also stretch when I'm doing this. So I stretch, I elongate myself as tall as I can be, and I'm breathing, and then I stay still and I meditate. Very, very helpful. There's this calming instantaneously that occurs, and it helps me stay centered and present before I start thinking about all the things that I need to do. So breath work has actually shown that most of the weight loss that we experience, it's true, 8 pounds of it is lost through our lungs, okay? And proper breathing also helps to increase our metabolism, and it gives us hormonal health. When we breathe through our nose and not our mouth, we actually activate our sympathetic nerve. But when we breathe through our mouth, then it's the sympathetic nerve. So we certainly need to be very mindful when we activate the sympathetic nerve. What do? You're triggering your adrenals, and your adrenals is going to produce cortisol, which there's nothing wrong with cortisol, but you don't want to activate cortisol all the time when there's not a perceived threat. But when we actually activate our parasympathetic nerve, which is our calm and rest, then we are decreasing cortisol level. So I want you to just slow down, take those deep breaths, long breaths, not short and shallow, which is typically what we do, and just be present. Just be present. There's several books on breath and its relevance. There's one called Breath, the New Science of a Lost Art. I really do encourage you to use it. It has worked tremendously for me. It's helped me get me to sleep. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, I'm able to get right back to sleep. So very important. Now, number 3, water, hydration, hydration, hydration. It's so important. When I'm drinking my water to start off my morning, I actually have my salt lamp on, and the light changes, and my goal is by the time it runs through the light, I think it runs about 6 or 7 colors. I've drank my water, 32 ounces, and it's a habit stacking. I love it because I'm looking at all those colors. I'm making my positive affirmation, and I'm drinking. So important for me to do that because we wake up dehydrated anyway, and I want to replenish and get my metabolism wrapped up. Thank you so much for joining me on this week's episode. My goal on this podcast is to empower, educate, and encourage you to take actionable steps to triumph at living at your finest, body, mind, and spirit. Of note, the information provided here is for educational purposes only and does not substitute as medical advice. Please discuss your healthcare needs with your licensed medical professional. If you are in need of a compassionate and comprehensive holistic physician or know someone who is, please reach out through my website, livewellness.com, for a meet and greet. It will be my honor to talk to you. Are we connected on social media yet? I share more in-depth content on best practices to ensure that you live at your finest daily. So please join me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Living at Your Finest Wellness, where we can learn together and stay connected. Lastly, please subscribe to iTunes if you have not done so already, and share the podcast within your circle of influence. An extra step? Leave a review and let me know what topics or discussions you would like to hear more of. Thanks in advance. It is always a thing of joy to hear from you. Now, let's get back to today's episode. I always make sure that I get my water by my bedside before I go to sleep, because if I don't do that, it won't happen. So I get my water by my bedside, and so I drink it, and I mix some lemon in it, warm water, and I really do enjoy it. I enjoy that water. It helps to flush out any toxin. It helps to rehydrate me. It helps to boost my metabolism. It helps to build my immune system. So many benefits. I encourage you, even if you like coffee, please start with water. Whatever way you want to drink your water, whether it's cold, figure out if you like cold or warm. I have played around with it and I figured out I prefer warm water. So it feels like I'm drinking coffee or something. So very important that you start off your day drinking water, okay? And that's how I drink my water. So I get motivated to drink it. With every drop of water you drink, you breathe. The breath that you take, you're connected to the sea, no matter where the earth you live. So you always want to drink water just to get yourself rehydrated. All right. So very important. Again, those are the systems that I use that helps me kickstart my metabolism. And guess what? When you do that, you're not as hungry. A lot of times, I mean, we're 70% water. A lot of times we feel that we're hungry. Meanwhile, we're actually thirsty. A lot of patients come to me and they don't drink enough water. They're having headaches, hormonal issues. So we really need to drink enough water. How much water? It's 70%. It's half of your body weight in ounces. So like, let's say if you're 100 pounds, or let's say 150, then you're drinking 70 thereabout. Okay. Studies show that if you're drinking 17 ounces of water, it increases your resting metabolism by 10 to 30% within an hour. Yep. It increases thermogenesis. So that augments your daily energy and expenditure. So very, very important. You could add lemon, like I said, the citric sea salt or the chlorophyll. All of that added to your water, or if you want to flavor your water, it just gives you added health benefits. Sadly, make sure your water is filtered. You want to minimize plastic. You just want a refillable container. But the important thing is just drink it. If you need an app or something, just do it. That's the important thing. Okay, so number 4, what else do we do? Outside. I go outside. This was a tough one, I won't lie to you, because you really want to get up, get going. So it really depends on how your day goes. If you're somebody that's going to be out the door, you can get your sunlight while you're out the door. But sunlight, early morning sunlight, it's so important because it helps to reset your circadian rhythm. And how does it do that? So the moment you go outside, that sunlight goes into your pineal gland. It stimulates serotonin, which is the feel-good hormone, which ultimately in the evening converts to melatonin, which enables you to sleep. So does that make sense? Very, very important. Early morning sun. And I find that if I go out and within the first hour, which I can pair with, some people go drink their morning coffee with the sun. Some people check their emails. I do everything I've said, but I make sure that at least within 30 minutes of waking up after I've done, and I go outside just for 15 minutes so that I can hear the beautiful nature, the birds. I can get that sun boosting my serotonin first and my melatonin. So important that you try to do it. Figure out a way. But if you're out the door right away to work, try and see how you can get it, because it really makes a difference, right? So morning sunlight. So let me share this inspirational quote. Keep your face on the sun and you will never see the shadows. And this is by Helen Keller. Very good. So exposure signals your body that it's time to wake up. So many studies have shown that the fat cells can sense sunlight, and it's enough to increase your metabolism. Yes. And it also, like I said, resets your sleep-wake cycle, which is so important. And we know that between the hours of 10 and 2, you have an extra dose of vitamin D. So I'm not saying wait till that time to go out, but certainly if you can't do the first thing in the morning, you want to at least go out somewhere around that time to boost your vitamin D, because we know that the vitamin D deficiency is associated with diabetes, obesity, cardiovascular disease, right? So important to go outside, breathe in, just enjoy it, because it helps to enhance your mood, your energy, your sleep, and your focus. Now, some people have asked, can you stay by the window if you have, open up your blinds? Yes, certainly, please open up your blinds and be very conversant about evening time. You want to dim the light because you don't want to block your body's melatonin, right? Your own natural melatonin. So you want to dim the lights, get blue light. If you still have to do work on the computer, you get the blue blocking lights, the blue blocking glasses. You can get it for your laptops and things like that. Your phone, put your phone away. Just really do your best to use sunlight during the day, and during the night, dim those lights. Okay, so we have just 2 more to go. The other one I want to mention after the sunlight is joyful movements. While you're there, some people I do it. I'm doing my sun salutation, right? I'm stretching outside, even in addition to that, I'm walking. So just joyful movement is so important. Early movement, get those, your muscle from being stiff from overnight, and then you keep that going as the day progresses. You're not, just joyful movement. If it's joyful dancing, joyful play, just encouraging yourself. It's another day. So that's joyful movement. Very important for you to incorporate that, whether you need to do some strength training, whatever it is, just move, do it joyfully, and get that blood blood flowing in your joints, very important. I just walk and I love it. I walk in sunlight. I combine other things while I'm walking, and I dance. I listen to music. So all these things, as you can imagine, has really made my day joyful. When I don't do it, I know that I'm not showing up at my best. I'm not living at my finest. But the days that I actually am very intentional about it, and I'm making my joyful movements, I see the difference in the way I show up with my productivity, in the way that my metabolism is wrapped up. I don't feel hungry. And this inspirational quote was really very helpful for me. It says, exercise not only tones the muscle, but it also refines the brain and revives the soul. And this is by Michael Tennant. So I really enjoy the movement, and more so in a childhood, joyful way. All right. You just want to find things that you do. And people ask, what kind of exercise should you do? Whatever it is that you enjoy doing, that you're going to keep doing. So when I'm outside, if I'm walking, or if sometimes I do like some sun sanitation outside, I do some squats. I just make sure that I am moving, keeping my body moving. Because guess what? When I move continuously throughout the day, it helps for better sleep at night. Okay, 2 more to go. So the adaptogens, in case you're wondering what are adaptogens are just things that we drink that help to boost our body's cells, right? Our mitochondria, which is our powerhouse. So that's what adaptogens are. They come in different ways: green tea, red tea. They have antioxidants. They help to reduce the oxidative stress that our body goes through. So these are what adaptogens are. And so for me, I make a lot of like green tea, mushroom elixirs. I don't drink coffee, but coffee is good if you're able to tolerate it. You just don't want to drink past 12 to 2 o'clock, because it can stay in your system for quite a bit, like 8 hours, and it can affect your sleep. It can affect the quality of sleep. So I do green tea. Just be mindful, because some of that also has caffeine. So, just having 1 or 2 cups certainly helps to boost just the way you feel and your overall vitality. So green tea has been shown to convert stored fat into free fatty acids, which help to increase your metabolism. And coffee, in some studies, have shown it increases your metabolism by 3 to 11%. All right. So, but I love the reishi mushrooms. It really does help to balance my immune system. I enjoy it. It tastes good. Sometimes I add some apple cider vinegar into it. So I just have fun with it. I put lemon. I love to mix a healthy, elixir recipe. So I'm really, really, really excited about the things that I make. Sometimes I can combine mocha powder, which is good. There's just so much that you can do with it. All right. Now, the last one I want to talk about is intermittent fasting. It's not for everyone. Intermittent fasting is just something that really keeps you from just eating continuously. You eat with a restricted period. So time restricted eating. Yes, time restricted eating. So I usually do a 16-8, meaning that I fast for 16 and I eat for 8. And then the first meal has to be healthy. Certainly all the meals need to be healthy, but more so the first one that you break your fast. Breakfast, break your fast. So intermittent fasting really keeps me balanced. So I encourage for you to talk to your healthcare provider if that works for you. It just really keeps you present, grounded, and you keep your GI tract a rest. Your insulin is not spiked unnecessarily, right? It gives your body time to heal. And so intermittent fasting is certainly one to encourage to add to your day. So meaning your first meal could be somewhere around 10 or 11, and then you don't eat past 7 or 8. So that's what intermittent fasting is. There is a quote that says fasting is the greatest remedy. Yes, it's the greatest remedy, because we're not made to eat continuously 24/7. The moment I have family members that when they eat, you feel like eating, even if you're not hungry. And I think that's the whole society that we live in, right? Somebody's eating, you feel like you're hungry and you want to eat as well. So it's not about being restrictive. It's just allowing us to be more intentional about what we're putting in our mouth, and paying attention to our hunger cues, because everything is a reason these days to grab something to eat. Okay. So contrary to the popular belief about skipping breakfast, that yes, as you're growing in your younger age, the breakfast is the most important meal. But as you get older and your metabolism is shifting and changing, you have to revisit and see what works best for you to increase your metabolism. Okay. Fasting decreases your insulin level, like I said. And when your insulin level is increased, increase. What it does, it stores butt fat. So you really want to minimize that. All right. So those are the few things that I wanted to mention that really helps me boost my morning. So I can officially say that I'm an okay morning person. I smile when I wake up. I'm not like groggy and mad and wanted to go back on my cover. I've found these tools and tips to help. And they say your night actually begins in the morning. How the day is going to go begins, but the night before, the morning of. So all these things are so important. And there's several apps. If you have questions, feel free to reach out to me and I can share some of these helpful apps that, I use. Some of them are mostly things on the phone that we have an iPhone or Android. So there you have it. I hope this was helpful. I hope you're inspired to pick up one or two things out of the 7 things that I do to spark my morning and just see how it shows up for you. It's about progress and not perfection, right? More importantly, it's just doing it consistently and being intentional. So I thank you. Thank you so much for staying to the very end. I want to just encourage you that now that you've heard and you've processed in your heart, I want you to identify those actionable steps that you're going to take so that you can live at your finest well-being by being whole, vibrant, and healthy. Don't forget to share with people in your life that this can benefit. If you need an accountability partner, grab them, do it together and see how things change. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't, hey, go back to business as usual. All right, until next episode, I want you to know that you deserve to live at your finest because you're worth it. Take care and God bless.